Finding your purpose, it's one of life's greatest questions. Why are we here? What were we made to do? For many, this search feels endless, filled with uncertainty and frustration. But what if the key to discovering your purpose has been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years? Nearly 3,000 years ago, a man named Moses uncovered a method so powerful, so transformative, that it changed the course of history. From a fugitive shepherd in the desert to the leader of a nation, Moses' journey reveals a shocking truth about how to find your purpose, a truth that has been overlooked or misunderstood by many. Moses' life wasn't straightforward. He didn't wake up one day and suddenly know his calling. Instead, his journey was filled with doubt, resistance, and incredible moments of revelation. Yet through it all, he discovered principles that not only defined his purpose, but can guide us in uncovering ours. In this video, we'll dive into Moses' story to uncover 3 transformative steps that will help you find and live out your purpose. The call in the desert. Moses' journey to discovering his purpose begins in one of the most unlikely places, the wilderness. At this point in his life, Moses is far from what anyone would consider a leader. He's not a prince of Egypt anymore, nor does he live among his Hebrew people. Instead, he's a shepherd, tending flocks in the barren lands of Midian, a fugitive running from his past. Yet, it's here, in the solitude of the desert, that Moses has a life-changing encounter. One day, as he leads his sheep near Mount Horeb, he notices something extraordinary, a bush that burns but is not consumed by the flames. Curious, Moses approaches, and from within the fire, a voice calls his name. Moses, Moses. It's God, and he's about to give Moses a mission that will define his life forever. God tells Moses that he has heard the cries of the Israelites enslaved in Egypt, and that Moses is the one chosen to lead them to freedom. Imagine the weight of that moment. Moses, a fugitive with no standing, is being called to confront Pharaoh, the most powerful man on earth, and liberate an entire nation. This scene teaches us the first principle of Moses' method. Your purpose often begins in the most unexpected places. Moses wasn't searching for greatness. He was living a quiet, unremarkable life. Yet, it was precisely in that ordinary moment that God revealed an extraordinary calling. Purpose begins with listening. Moses could have ignored the burning bush or dismissed the experience as a strange phenomenon. But instead, he listened. And that's where many of us fall short. We're so consumed by distractions or doubts that we miss the moments when purpose is calling us. The burning bush represents more than a miraculous event. It symbolizes the importance of paying attention to the signs and opportunities around us. It's a reminder that purpose often whispers before it shouts, and if we're not listening, we might miss it. But there's another lesson here. Stepping into your purpose requires action. God didn't just tell Moses about his calling. He gave him a mission. Now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh. The same is true for us. Recognizing your purpose is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you step forward in faith, even if you feel unprepared. Moses' story challenges us to reflect on our own lives. Are we paying attention to the moments that could be pointing us toward our purpose? And when we recognize those moments, do we have the courage to act? The call in the desert is a reminder that purpose isn't found in perfect conditions. It's discovered when we listen and respond. Overcoming self-doubt. After hearing God's call, Moses is faced with a choice. The mission is clear: lead the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. But instead of embracing the call with confidence, Moses hesitates. Why? Because like so many of us, Moses is plagued by self-doubt. In Exodus 4, Moses voices his fears to God. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" His doubts begin to pour out. He doesn't believe he's capable. He worries about how others will perceive him, and he questions his ability to speak eloquently. At one point, he even begs God to send someone else. This moment is deeply human. We see a great leader at his most vulnerable, doubting himself and resisting the call. But God's response to Moses is profound. "I will be with you." These words remind us of a crucial truth. Our purpose is not about our abilities. It's about God's presence and power working through us. Your purpose isn't limited by your doubts. One of the most powerful lessons from Moses' story is that self-doubt is normal. It's something everyone faces, even those who go on to achieve great things. But Moses' life teaches us that doubts don't have to define us. Instead, they can become the very place where faith begins to grow. God doesn't leave Moses to figure things out alone. He gives him signs to strengthen his confidence, like the staff that turns into a serpent and the ability to perform miracles. But these signs aren't just about convincing Pharaoh, they're about reassuring Moses that he is not alone. God equips those he calls. This chapter of Moses' journey speaks directly to anyone who has ever felt inadequate. How often do we let self-doubt hold us back? We convince ourselves that we're not smart enough, talented enough, or strong enough to step into our purpose. But Moses shows us that it's not about being perfect or prepared. It's about trusting the one who calls us. Overcoming self-doubt doesn't mean you'll never feel fear or uncertainty. It means choosing to move forward anyway, trusting that God's strength will carry you where your own cannot. Moses' story reminds us that our weaknesses don't disqualify us from our purpose. They make room for God's power to shine. Purpose grows when we face our doubts with faith. Like Moses, we all have moments when we feel unworthy or unprepared. But those very moments can become the turning points in our journey. What would happen if instead of focusing on what we lack, we focused on the one who promises to be with us? That's where true purpose begins. Trusting the process. Finding your purpose is one thing, but living it out, that's an entirely different challenge. After answering God's call and confronting his self-doubt, Moses embarks on one of the most daunting missions in history, leading an entire nation out of slavery and into the promised land. But the path to fulfilling his purpose is anything but straightforward. The moment Moses leads the Israelites out of Egypt, challenges begin to mount. First, there's Pharaoh's pursuit. Trapped between the Red Sea and the advancing Egyptian army, the people cry out in fear, doubting Moses' leadership. Yet Moses, trusting in God's promises, raises his staff, and the waters part, creating a way forward. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This miraculous moment is a powerful reminder that trusting the process often means stepping into the unknown and relying on God to make a way where there seems to be none. But the challenges don't stop there. The Israelites soon find themselves in the wilderness, hungry, thirsty, and full of complaints. They question Moses' leadership, and some even wish to return to Egypt. Moses, too, struggles. He prays to God for guidance, often feeling the weight of leading a people who doubt and resist at every turn. Through these trials, Moses learns and teaches a profound lesson. Fulfilling your purpose requires patience, perseverance, and an unshakable trust in God's timing. Purpose is rarely fulfilled overnight. It's a process, a journey filled with obstacles that test your faith and refine your character. How often do we want instant results? We expect our purpose to unfold smoothly. But Moses' story reminds us that challenges are part of the journey. Each obstacle he faced, from Pharaoh's defiance to the complaints of the Israelites, was a step in God's greater plan. These moments weren't setbacks. They were opportunities for growth and dependence on God. Trusting the process doesn't mean the road will be easy. It means believing that every step, even the difficult ones, is shaping you and moving you closer to your purpose. Moses didn't always have all the answers, but he trusted the one who did. And through his trust, he witnessed miracles, from manna falling from heaven to water flowing from a rock. Moses' journey challenges us to think about how we approach our own struggles. Are we willing to trust the process, even when it's uncomfortable or unclear? Purpose requires faith, not just in the destination, but in the journey itself. It's in those moments of uncertainty and perseverance that we grow into the people we were created to be. By trusting the process, Moses not only fulfilled his calling, but became one of the greatest leaders in history. His story reminds us that the path to purpose is rarely easy, but it's always worth it. What obstacles in your life might be shaping you for something greater? Moses' story is not just a tale from ancient history. It's a guide for anyone searching for their purpose. His life reminds us that purpose isn't something we stumble upon. It's something we discover through listening, facing our doubts, and trusting the journey. Moses' life wasn't perfect. He faced fear, failure, and frustration. But through it all, he stayed faithful to his calling, and his story continues to inspire us thousands of years later. Finding your purpose isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. It's about stepping forward even when the path isn't clear, and trusting that every challenge is shaping you for something greater. We'll continue exploring timeless lessons from the Bible, uncovering stories and truths that guide us toward a life of meaning, faith, and courage. Thank you for joining us on this journey.